All right, so as promised, the Killer Bats are going to get their shot at a survival video as I did the last one with the Screaming Gophers and the Maureen. Now, the reason why they're not going through the Maureen incident is because I kind of feel like they would survive a whole lot better than the Screaming Gophers would. You see, the Killer Bats is a team that didn't really have that much internal conflict unless it came to the trust episode. And again, even though Eva was like she was a rage beast. Let's be real here, and she had her anger issues. But again, she mellowed out over the years and kind of became a simplistic yet very reason can in some ways very reasonable. Yeah, she is a strong, aggressive girl, but that's what sometimes sometimes like us guys kind of like that. I'm just saying like. But anyway, don't knock me. Don't just don't. But anyway, the reason why they're really not going through it is because again, they have a higher chance of getting everybody out. Even then, I only see them losing like 4 people in the Maureen incident, and that's about it. The rest of the group kind of just honestly survives if anything here. But today we're gonna put them in a different scenario. We're gonna put them in the Bigfoot game. Probably one of the few games I've actually come to love as a whole here. And it's one of the few games that I've actually come to respect in all honesty, especially with the continuous updates that the game has. You see, Finding Bigfoot is a game where these 2 or 4 players pretty much have to hunt down a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch that has been hunting and destroying, these national parks, basically killing and eating the people and the wildlife there, and has pretty much left it barren. So they have to pretty much find the Bigfoot, or the Bigfoot can find them and kill them and pretty much eat them. So in all honesty, it's a hunt or be hunted kind of game, and I actually love it here. So yeah, that's pretty much the game here. So yeah, the Killer Bass obviously consisting of Jeff, Harold, Eva, Courtney, Katie, Sadie, Ezekiel, Tyler, DJ, and Duncan will all be going through this scenario. So this is basically going to determine how they pretty much hunt down Bigfoot and how they do as a team. Because again, if they don't do well as a team, they honestly just don't, they don't have much to really go off of. So starting at the base camp here, now if you guys don't know, if you guys haven't watched it, I recommend going to Fooster's channel and watching his hunting Bigfoot gameplay. It's absolutely amazing. It's amazing. It's funny too. But again, Bigfoot can actually attack the camp now if they stay there too long. However, the camp, or at least the base camp or whatever, is probably one of the best places to basically to start off here. And I actually think the Killer Bats would be able to set themselves up pretty well here, especially with the RV, the kitchen, and everything there. So for those who get the weapons like the rifles and the, M16s and all that as they go around collecting them, the team I think would be, I guess you could say, pretty much out there trying to hunt down Bigfoot would be Duncan, Jeff, DJ, Courtney, and Bridget. All right. And I think that you might be asking, like, why not Eva, right? But I think Eva would play the more of the like base guard role because she is physically capable of being able to like, fight against like bears and the total drama version of Sasquatch. So she's very capable here. Now again, they don't have their over the top Toon Force abilities like them being able to survive like a whole building exploding and being fine. So yeah, they don't have that kind of 2 force here. But again, I think these 3 would definitely have the weapons. I definitely think DJ would probably have the flare gun and definitely be the one to carry like fuel canisters and stuff because he is the strongest out of the 3 of them. He is the strongest one out of them. And I definitely think Duncan would definitely take the lead here when it comes to hunting something down. Now, the reason why I would also add Courtney and Bridget, I will explain later. However, in terms of the technological use, setting up cameras and stuff or following the other guys with the drone, I do think Harold would be perfect for this. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Why would Harold comply with Duncan, Jeff, and DJ when they pretty much bullied him? Well, to be honest, Harold did kind of deserve it. He was disgusting and just foul at times. And again, really didn't do much as a whole here, except just kind of be Duncan's punching bag. However, when push came to shove, they both realized that each of them had their strengths and each of them had their weaknesses that they both could help each other out with. And in some ways they're like not friends, but they're not enemies either. They're more like acquaintances because there have been times like in Total Drama action where they did help each other a lot and had to work together on a couple of occasions. So I think this would be one of those instances where they would put their differences aside as a whole. And in all honesty, I think Harold would probably be the surveillance of the group, with probably having like Jeff carry like the cameras and stuff, and definitely place cameras along maybe some trails or some areas where they think Bigfoot might be. Now let's go over the geography of the terrain here. Now, in all honesty, there are many parks here. There are many that just pretty much suit the environments that they should be able to handle. I mean, Wawanakwa itself is a pretty, I wouldn't say a complicated, forest-like map, but it definitely is a forest nevertheless, or at least it's like the size of a national park in a way. So I decided, why not combine a composite or at least use the winter map. I definitely think the winter map is definitely more suitable, and they would obviously have like winter clothing. We're not going to just throw them in there without like winter clothing and stuff. It's just kind of wrong and kind of an easy win for the monster here. Now, again, this would come to who's reading the map here. And honestly, I think that Courtney is the best suited for the map reading, or at least, I guess you could say navigating the terrain and stuff. You might say, oh, why not Bridget? Well, I just kind of feel like Courtney would fit this role a little bit better in terms of leading the team to areas or pretty much just mapping out the geography, as she does have kind of like I would actually say she's pretty smart enough or would be trusted enough to really do this. Bridget's role would actually be animal detail. And for those of you who don't know this, Bridget is pretty good with animals. I just kind of think it's very simple and straightforward here that Bridget would be on animal detail. I mean, we guys seen in Total Drama, I think in one of the few, I think it was World Tour or whatever, where Bridget actually was able to befriend a bear, and the bear actually liked her. And she was also traveling around the world helping other animals as well. So I think it's very simple that she would know a lot more about animals than anybody else on her team. Now onto Bigfoot himself here. Now Bigfoot is absolutely ridiculous. He's easy above like your average everyday animals like bears, mooses, bison. He's above those creatures as he's in these kind of like forest areas. These animals easily have like, wall level scaling. I don't really think there's any if and or buts about it. He's even able to break through like most parts of the RV. He's not able to really dent it, but he's able to break through like the wooden windows, tear down like wooden doors, even take down trees. However, it is very noteworthy that he isn't able to scratch through them fully. So it's very possible that, he has to scratch through them and over time kind of leaves them in a certain way to where they'll eventually fall. Bigfoot is also capable of setting his own traps as well and has the ability to actually disrupt most of the technology there. He's also incredibly durable, able to take, shotgun blasts and rifle shots to the face, even some M16 shots. Shots. So yeah, without further ado, that pretty much covers Bigfoot. Now, let's get into the beginning of this here. Now, I do think that the team I said earlier of Duncan, Jeff, Bridget, and DJ and Courtney would assemble their gear and I think go out hunting for Bigfoot. But I think before they leave, they would make sure they have all the necessary equipment and tools here, with them pretty much following out Courtney to probably one of the local villages. This is where I think Eva would pretty much begin setting traps along with Katie, Sadie, and Tyler. Now you might say, why not Ezekiel? And I'll get into that a little bit. While they're doing that, I do think that Harold would definitely set up his surveillance, definitely a couple of cameras around the camp area and definitely any blind spots, maybe even putting one in the trees or maybe installing one of the alarm systems that are in the game as well. Now, this is where I do believe that the group may encounter Bigfoot at least once or twice here. But again, I don't think they would engage him right away. I do think they would investigate the area, or maybe they would encounter animals like wolves, investigate the caves. I think that there's enough in that park to keep them busy, or at least enough in the winter park, sorry, to keep them busy from really being around that area in general, at least keeping them away from the base. They would find cabins, they would find the dead bodies, find the scratches, make sure they have everything documented on for Bigfoot. Now, this is where I think Bigfoot would definitely attack the camp. Remember what I said earlier, Bigfoot will attack the camp if you guys stay there for too long, or at least if you guys would stay a night. I do think it is smart to stay a night in the RV and then fend off Bigfoot from inside of it, or at least, somewhat defend Bigfoot off because he can't really break into the RV. However, I do think Bigfoot would at least claim one of the Total Drama members as his victim, one of the Killer Bass members as his victim, and that would be Ezekiel. Now, the reason why I would say Ezekiel is because, in all honesty, he's not a team player, and I think he would probably be the only casualty of this entire group here. Now, the reason why I would say that is because, number one, Ezekiel costed his team a lot of things many times, and then he was just like, I hate to say it, but he was very misogynistic, literally calling the girls weak and pretty much blaming them from stuff. And in all honesty, I don't think I don't really think he grew from that, is what I'm trying to say here. Now, you might say, oh, what about Katie and Sadie? Wouldn't they die? In all honesty, no, I don't think they would. The reason why I'm saying this is because I think they all would be out setting traps around the area. However, unlike Ezekiel would either get distracted or maybe Eva tells him to do it, and then he was just thinking like, I'm not taking orders from, no chick or anything. And again, I'm sorry to kind of say it like that, but it is, again, Ezekiel's character. Tyler and, Katie and Sadie, yeah, they had their times where they were just completely and utterly useless. But again, they still got the job done with relative ease, and they were still team players. Now, yes, I do think Harold and maybe Eva would have to guide and teach Katie and Sadie how to set a trap. And then I do think Tyler would probably have some comedic relief here. But again, the only way I see Tyler dying is if he gets caught in a trap. And let's say he dies. I think Katie and Sadie are smart enough to run back to the area and probably set the traps a little bit closer. So again, even though I do think only one person would die, let's actually say, for narrative's sake here, that Tyler does get caught in the trap, because again, he isn't really aware of his environment. Let's be real. Now, Ezekiel, again, is either just not a team player, or he just doesn't play well with girls. Let's just be real here. And I think Ezekiel maybe having that moment would allow him to get snatched up by Bigfoot in a heartbeat. I think Bigfoot would ambush him personally and then take him out. Ezekiel's screams would draw Eva, Katie, and Sadie to his area, where Eva would definitely be able to cause some damage to Bigfoot. But again, this would cause her to be injured. And then Harold would be contacting the others to pretty much come back and hurry up. Now, while that happens, I do think Eva, Katie, Sadie, and Harold would definitely barricade themselves within the RV, because Bigfoot can't really break through it. However, that doesn't mean he wouldn't try to reach through the windows and try to pluck one of them out. Now, I do think as while that happens, I do think that the others would return. Eventually. I just think that's just a very high probability here. And this is where they would fight off Bigfoot and cause definitely a lot of damage here. Remember, they would be exploring the park, and in the park you still can find weapons like, baseball clubs, M16s, rifles, shotguns, all that. I think they would easily be able to just get those by that time here. And this is where I think after fending off Bigfoot, they would definitely have to make the move to set a trap immediately. And I think the Winter Park Village would actually play a good role in that. I definitely could see Duncan suggesting that they make this kind of trap where they could either lure Bigfoot into a building, because again, he doesn't have a problem going into them, as they would have already discussed the evidence of this. But I think they would do this as they're driving the RV to the Winter Park Village. And I actually think this would probably be a move they would do. But let's say they can't do that in the game. They would definitely make their way at the first light to the village here. Now, the way I do think they would take out Bigfoot is definitely using something as bait. And again, if DJ does befriend the bunny, I do think that in order for the rest of the group to survive, Duncan would suggest that he does use bunny as bait, live bait, in fact. Because again, Bigfoot doesn't have a problem with hunting anything in that area, from wolves to bears to mooses. He doesn't have a problem with it at all. So I really think that they would probably use bunny or maybe even one of them as bait. I could definitely also see them using like loud noises to draw in Bigfoot because that does work as well. And I think that once that happens and they get Bigfoot in a area where they could pretty much like trap him or use like a couple bear traps to where he can't really get out, this is when they would unleash everything they have on Bigfoot and just dismantle him. Or they probably trap him in a building and then using the fuel canisters light that building up, causing it to explode and them pretty much killing Bigfoot like that. But overall, I see the killer bass succeeding with 2 casualties at the most here. Now, again, I know you guys want me to do a total drama survival video with the full cast, and I would do it. But again, it cannot be 2005's Skull Island. That's an instant death trap for all of them. And I don't really see any of them surviving. The creatures on that island are just way beyond what we have here. And even then, the smartest characters, or at least the more animal knowledge-based characters like Bridget and Noah, don't really have any experience from what we've seen in paleontology. And again, even the beach itself is a death trap with a lot of creatures there, and their apex, Tartaronus, being above even the juvenile lights of V-Rex is here. He's the apex of the beach for a reason. But again, including the juvenile V-Rexes, the Venatosaurs, the Alverosaurus, and the other creatures on the island, they would not last 1 day at bare minimum. They would even last. Let's give it a good estimation here. They would even last a week. They really wouldn't. They wouldn't last a week with all of them on there. But overall, for this one, I do see the killer bass definitely coming out on top, with only Tyler and Ezekiel being the only ones to really die here. But hey, that's going to be all for today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.